Hey crew, I've got the key to that 24 BMW XM Label Red. I've wanted to call it Red Label so many times. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. You are looking at the most powerful production M vehicle, and it's trying to tell you that with its inflated kidney grille that illuminates at night, the black gloss of the front end, functional ventilation down low. You also have a functional air curtain off to the side, beneath the split headlight design of LED DRLs up top, and projector beams down low. This one's painted in Grigio Telesto. From afar, it looks like a flat gray, but you get close and you see the light metallic flake. That color contrasts all the gloss black accents, and honestly, I prefer the entire vehicle in black. At the side, the Label Red gets these 22-inch aero sculpted wheels, but you can option on 23s. These are wrapped in Yokohama summer tires, 275 section front, 315 at the back. Like the badges, the 6-piston front brake calipers are painted in red. The charge port door is here, and with a level 2 charger, you can top up the battery in 3 hours and 15 minutes. There is a black gloss stripe underneath the black window trim. It's sort of like eyeshadow, and there are no roof rails. At the back are some stylish LED taillights, above really cool stacked exhaust ports on either side of the diffuser. But the rest of the rear end is funky to me. I mean, the off-center XM badge, the decals for BMW logos at the corners of the glass, and the general roundedness of the rear not quite matching up with the frenetic design of the rest of the XM. What do you guys think? Is this the look of a flagship M product? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this red and black full merino leather interior with contrast stitching, seat perforations, rear seat heating, and these fancy lumbar pillows. Up top, instead of a pano sunroof, there's this geometric insert that's suede wrapped with ambient lighting. On the doors, got leather top to bottom with more quilting and contrasting. You've got big door pockets, power one-touch up-down windows, and this one has an upgraded Bowers & Wilkins 1475 watt sound system. Stepping in, I have to duck my head a little bit, but it's pretty easy. Behind my own seat, at 6 feet tall, I've got a good amount of knee room. The map pocket is quilted and contrast stitched. The foot pockets are large to slide my feet under. Thigh support is solid, and headroom is terrific. That gets the thumbs up from me. Behind each seat are 2 USB-C ports, or rather there are 2 in total. There are 2 more USB-C ports down there with a DC outlet. There's a 4-zone climate control system here. The drive shaft hump isn't that large, so I can slide over to the middle pretty easily and once again fit with headroom. And if there was not a middle passenger, then you have an armrest that comes down with 2 cup holders and leather padding. Let's check out the front next. I don't need to slam the door shut because there is a soft close feature, but I'm going to slam it anyway to listen for build quality and find it to be very solid. Smart keyless entry is just for the front 2 doors. The front seats are more aggressively bolstered with heating, ventilation, and massage. Power controls on the side, including lumbar, your side bolsters, and your thigh support. Aluminum accents for the foot pedals and tread plates. The front doors add 4 one-touch windows, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, 2 positions of memory for the driver's seat, and your power tailgate release. Behind the second row of seats, there is 19 cubic feet of space, and that fancy bag is not mine. It holds the charging cables. Now this part's odd to me. To fold down the rear seats and access the full 64 cubic feet of space, you cannot do that from anywhere in the trunk. No power controls, no manual controls, so you have to open up the rear doors and then fold down the seats by releasing those 2 levers. At least there's a power close and lock function on the tailgate. Hopping into the driver's seat, closing up that door. The M red and blue theme continues up here, not just for the red stitching, but also for the red painted air vents and the carbon fiber twill. That has both red and blue within it, and that's too much for me, personally. The steering wheel is thickly wrapped in leather. It's heated, feels great in the hands. You've got red and blue stitching on the inside. You've got these large carbon fiber paddles, and the back of them is also in red. The M1 and M2 customizable buttons are red as well. You've got controls for the driving assistance features and for your media settings. Beyond the wheel is a single curved display encompassing your digital gauge cluster and your touchscreen infotainment. This is very quick responding, easy to read, and it's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Beneath the screen is a volume knob, seat controls, and defroster settings. All other climate functions are in the infotainment, and while easy to use, they're still more distracting while driving than a physical control. Further down, we've got more of that blue and red carbon fiber twill. Slide that forward to find a wireless charging pad, USB-A port, heated and cooled cup holders. Your drive settings are here on the left of the gear selector. Your iDrive controller is just to the right if you don't want to touch the screen. Under the leather-topped console is a bit of storage space with another USB-C port. Visibility could be better because that back pillar is a pretty thick blind spot, but there is standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. Honestly, I can't say this interior feels like $191,000 well spent. The design is okay, but the color palette is overstimulating. Now let's take the XM Label Red for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. Some futuristic music, startup chimes, but no V8 noise, because it starts off as an electric vehicle. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this drive review in the BMW XM Label Red. I'm going to begin by going over all the different drive settings, because there are a lot of them. First, I'll hit the setup button. That gives you this screen with options for the powertrain, the chassis, steering, braking, the all-wheel drive system, and the braking regeneration. I'll leave everything off here to the left-hand side before I then move on to the M mode, which changes up effectively what you see on the gauge cluster. Then there's the M hybrid button, and these are your three options for the hybrid operation of some gas power, some electric power. You can operate just as an EV, or you can hit the E control to hold on to your electric energy to then use later. We'll begin as a pure EV, and then I'm going to direct our attention to this screen where you can see the range estimate of 30 miles. Now that's interesting because the EPA rates the XM Label Red at 31 miles of electric range, and yet we don't even have a full charge here. So when I fully charge this battery, it tells me I've got a range of 40 plus miles. So we'll see how that holds up during our drive. To go into reverse, it's over and up. That brings up a high-resolution camera system. You've got several different angles to choose from, including this pano view. Go into a 3D view and use gestures to work your way around the vehicle. Very fancy. And it's in the right color combo. That's exactly what we have. We'll go back to parking view and then start the backup assist. So hands off the steering wheel. I just control with the gas and brake how quickly we move back along the same path we took to get into this space. And when it's finished, which I'm just going to say it is right now, I go into drive, and that's just one. I said I go into drive, and that's just one handy feature if you're in a really tight parking space or you don't know how to drive anymore. Testing out the turning radius now. I'm going to bring the camera system back up before I crank the wheel and see just how, wow, tightly this big ol' XM pivots around. That's an excellent turning circle. Turn signal sound. That's classic BMW right there. And the world famous horn test. What? Sounds like a distressed animal. Not my favorite. Moving on to the powertrain in the XM Label Red. You've got a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 that we're not using it all right now, along with an electric motor and a 25.7 kilowatt hour battery pack. The total output in the Label Red is 738 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. That's up 94 horses and 148 pound-feet of torque over the standard XM. That is routed through an 8-speed automatic gearbox and sent to all 4 tires. And as a cruiser, the XM has its good and bad points. Starting with the ride quality, the XM has an adaptive damper suspension, but unlike a lot of luxury SUVs, it doesn't have an air suspension to go with that. It has steel springs, and that is clearly a nod to performance intentions, and we'll get to enjoy that a little later on. But when you're cruising about, you hear and feel the bumps. There's a boom when you go over them, and you feel that ripple in through your seat to your body. But now moving to the positives, it's very well insulated in this cabin, and in electric mode, without the noise of a V8 going, apart from those ripples of road imperfections, It's a very serene driving experience, and these seats are extremely comfortable. All the adjustments, I've got a great driving posture for myself, nice tilt and telescope to the wheel. It does feel premium in those regards. And then if I was to move into the hybrid mode, the gas engine turns on so inconspicuously that you won't even know it's there until you really dig further into the throttle and you start hearing some of that V8 noise. And that's not actually coming from the outside of the vehicle getting in, it's just being piped in through the speakers. Now let's just say you were in the mood to hear more from that engine. Well, you might want to try Sport Plus drivetrain, and then from still within the hybrid mode, you put your foot down and you'll wake up along with the XM Label Red. Goodness! Pace. There's a lot of pace here, and there's more noise, but the artificial sound profile isn't my favorite. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is that a good noise, or does it sound too forced? I mean, whatever it sounds like, the XM Red Label, Label Red, whatever, is freaking fast. Just hurtles down the motorway. And I do want to try out manual mode, so I'm going to click the gear selector over and operate these large paddles. Shifts are quick down. Shift light indicator's fun, and the upshift speed is great. Let's do it one more time. Now the visuals are pretty cool here, and there are more even here. It's funny, it's like a sound system. Crank the volume! Levels up! That's the mid-range mayhem, but what about a dig to 60? We're gonna find out with a real-world 0 to 60 test next. I've got my race box set up over here to record and all the settings necessary for launch control, basically M Dynamic mode and Sport Plus mode. I'm then going to hold in the left paddle to see the boost function, then hold my foot on the brake, pin the throttle, build up the revs, launch control is active, letting go. Oh my gosh. There's 60 in 3.7 seconds. Technology, ain't it fun? It's also highly accurate. BMW estimates 3.7 seconds, and lo and behold, that's what we've returned. But this being the Halo M product, I care not as much about how quick it is off the line. I care more about how engaging it is in the curves. So now in the proper setting, I've got the chassis in Sport Plus, the steering in Sport, and the braking there too. And now, let's see what you got, XM. We know there's straight line pace, but now there's also great brake bite. Quick turn in. The boosting of the steering is solid. Good resistance. Good sense of grip. Flatness through curves. Now I see where the coilovers make sense. No floatiness here. Feels very in control of its motions. And just very fast everywhere. Just sprinting along this road. There's the MDNA, I feel it. Unfortunately, I do also feel the 6,100 pounds. Yes, it's controlled, but it's ever present. And this is the price you pay for modernization. You get more power, but you also get more weight. This is still a blast. Just a rocket. and a great driving machine. That's what I needed to see. I do hesitate to make a remark like, aha, it all makes sense now. Because honestly, an X5 or an X6M would drive just as well as this in this kind of environment. And they're gonna cost less, and they're gonna look better. So is this really an M flagship effort? Not entirely sure. Just know it's entertaining. And that counts for something, right? Before I dive into competition and reach a verdict, let's discuss the top speed and fuel economy. With the optional M drivers package, the XM Label Red has a top speed of 175 miles per hour, and the fuel economy with still there being electric energy in the battery is 46 MPGe. With that drained, it's 19 combined. Oh, and status check, we've got 16 miles of range left. We started with 30, we were in EV mode for about 10 before I switched to hybrid mode, and I've not gone into e-control mode at all. So clearly, even in the hybrid mode, it's not just draining all the electric energy quickly before then turning on the gas engine. It's finding a way to make that last a little bit. The starting price for the Red Label XM is $186,000. That's 27 grand more than the standard XM, and this one, as tested, is a shade under 192K. Competitors in this high-performance plug-in hybrid luxury space, we've got the Porsche Cayenne Turbo e-hybrid. That's $149,000 to start. It makes 729 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.5 seconds, has a top speed of 183 miles per hour, 45 mile per gallon equivalent rating, and a 35-mile EV range. Or there's the Bentley Bentayga S hybrid. That's $235,000 for that one. It makes 455 horsepower, gets to 60 in 4.5 seconds, has a top speed of 158 miles per hour, 46 mile per gallon equivalent rating like this vehicle, but an 18-mile EV range. So if I were to say that this XM Label Red is, yes, the most powerful and the most expensive M product you can buy, but not being any better to drive than the less expensive X5 or X6M competition, while also not being any better to drive than the less expensive Porsche Cayenne Turbo S e-hybrid, and carrying slightly less impressive performance figures. Oh, and also being overstimulating to look at on the outside and experience on the interior. It's just difficult to recommend this vehicle. And moreover, I just don't think this should be carrying the torch forward for the BMW M brand. But what do you guys think? Would you have this XM Label Red? Would you choose the Porsche Cayenne Turbo S e-hybrid or the Bentley Bentayga S hybrid? Let me know in the comments. And as I allow the XM Label Red to kind of drive itself a little bit on this road, I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review, and I will see you again next time.